In 2018, maybe on a beach in Naxos, Greece, we decided that we needed a paradigm shift in our lives. Instead of working 48 weeks a year to do the things that we love for 4 weeks, we wanted a lifestyle that allowed us to do the things we love all year round. From that conversation, Downshifters was born, and a year later, we've moved into a 2019 Ford Transit that we converted ourselves.
We're changing to a lower gear, squeezing into a custom-built van, and exploring the country. Learn with us and come along for the ride.
Hey guys, this is John from Downshifters, and we're doing a quick update on how we've liked our GoalZero Yeti 6000X over the last year or so. So let's start with things that we don't love about it, and we'll move to the things that we really like about it. The first thing that we find a little bit challenging with this is that it has a max input on solar of 600 watts. It has so much storage capacity that this means that the charge times to get back to close to 100, it takes a long time. And so this can be really challenging if you're a nomad like we are, as you are always drawing off the battery while you're charging it. So we would love to see this unit that has such great capacity have the ability to charge faster by being able to have 800 or 1,000 watts of solar. It would just make it a much better experience for the way that we use the battery station. The caveat to that is that we are using the link system, which means that we can attach it to our alternator. And so using the alternator charge plus being able to use the solar charging at the same time does give us, around 800 watts of charge, which does help and speeds things up. So a lot of times we'll consider where we're traveling and when based on weather and how full our battery is. So more power would be great. The second thing that we wish was different about this unit is that it currently comes standard with two 120 volt outlets. This basically puts us in a situation where in order to plug in everything that we have in the van, we have to have a power strip that's plugged in to the 120 volt outlet. If we had more outputs, then it would give us more flexibility, keep the system a little bit cleaner so that we didn't have to use a power strip. It also, with that, something that would be really nice is if the app itself allowed you to control the outlets individually. That way you could turn things off and on with a click of your app without having to get to the unit itself. For us, the unit lives somewhere where it's hard to get to. We do have it well ventilated, but we have to remove a bunch of stuff in order to get to it. And so it just is not quite as nice in terms of sort of how you control the unit, because you can either turn them both on or off. And that's basically true for each of the sections of the inputs and outputs on here. It's basically kind of a macro, on or macro off. So individual connection would be really great and give you just a lot more versatility and control over what's drawing on the power station. The next thing that we don't love about this is that the app does disconnect and from the unit. So it's kind of the same story. If your unit isn't somewhere where it's easy to get to, if you have it in a closet, if it's in a cabinet, if it's bottom shelf, if there's stuff in front of it, then you have to remove all of that stuff, open the lid, and then pair the devices back to each other. Not the end of the world, but just by putting the button somewhere where the rest of the buttons are would make it a lot easier when the app does disconnect from the unit. So that would be something that we would find really helpful. The next one is a big one. This one is just battery chemistry. So the GoalZero unit uses lithium ion, and it's not the safest battery chemistry type relative to other lithium type batteries that are on the market. So safety is one thing, but the big one is that a lot of power stations are now using the LiFePO 4 chemistry, which is safer, and it has a lot more cycles as a spec that it can recharge the battery. So GoalZero spec is roughly around 500 charges at 80%, whereas on a LiFePO 4 battery, you're getting somewhere between 2,500 and 3,500 charges, which extends the life of your purchase or investment by quite a bit, right? Roughly 5 to 7 times more charges than what the GoalZero is currently offering. So we'd love to see the battery chemistry changed to become competitive with the other power stations so that the investment is a little bit longer, that you're getting more out of it. And then the last thing is sort of related to that is just the price. The price point of GoalZero is expensive. At the time that we got into GoalZero, it was clearly the best power station on the market. There are a lot of competitors now, and a lot of competitors that are beating the price of the GoalZeros. Now, the caveat to that is the GoalZero is still giving you the most battery storage, which is really why we got into this one, is having understood that you're going to have a lot of rainy days, a lot of cloudy days, that having enough battery storage is critical because we rely on electricity for everything in our van. We work Monday through Friday, and we cook using electricity. So having that capacity is important, but is it staying competitive with what some of the other newer power station brands are offering? Do your homework on that. But I would love to see these come down in price. It would make them a better value. So those are the things that we are feeling could be improved about the GoalZero. The thing that we really like about it, though, are its capacity, which I just talked about. So as I know, it's the largest capacity as a single power station. You can also chain this unit and others. So one strategy that you may want to consider is buying a smaller unit and then chaining additional batteries on it for cost saving. So if you went with the 3000X or even smaller and were able to then chain additional batteries off of it, you essentially get the same feature set at a lower price. But the capacity of this relative to size, we're very happy with that capacity because it's something that we felt we must have in our van build. The second thing that we really like is the range of inputs and outputs. Basically, we've been able to plug in anything that we want. And I think that that's also true for most of the other power stations out there, but I think it's worth looking into when you're shopping to think about what devices or types of connections are you going to be using either in your van build or in your garage, etc. But we're happy with the options that this one has. The third one is the warranty. So this actually isn't the same unit that we reviewed in our box opening. This is a new unit. The reason for that is that our MC4 connector into the APP port shorted. And so we were no longer able to charge via solar panel. GoalZero was super quick to send us a new unit, and they've been very good about that. When there have been issues with the units, they send us new ones, no questions asked, and that is still true. And so that's something that has made us feel pretty comfortable in spending the money, is knowing that if something happens to the unit, we're going to be able to replace it so that it doesn't completely screw our lifestyle totally. The fourth thing is tech support. We had an interesting issue where the new power supply that comes with some of the GoalZero units was running at the same voltage as our solar panels. And so what this was doing was clamping down the input of our solar into the unit. So even if it was really sunny, we weren't getting the full power from our 600 watts of solar panels that are on our roof. So this was basically a code issue I worked with tech support on this, and some back and forth with one of the engineers from GoalZero, and they actually corrected this clamping that was happening specifically for our panel brand, um, when they came out with the next firmware update. And so this felt nice to be heard. It was very proactive, and it was a really good conversation with the engineer about sort of what was happening and how they were going to resolve it. And since that firmware update, the unit has been working really great, and we've been getting the full charge from our solar panels. So we're very happy with that, and that was a good experience for us. And then the last thing, while challenging in some ways, we think that the app is great, and having an app is something that would be on our must-have list if we were buying a new power station, because we keep our GoalZero stashed away. It's really nice to be able to understand where we're at in terms of how full the unit is without having to move everything to look at the display. It also allows us to turn on and off certain features, and these things, this feature set, we find really valuable. So any power station that we would get in the future would have an app associated with it, so that we can control these things, check in on our where we're at in our capacity, so that we can then plan our day. Maybe we don't use the air fryer that day because we're a little low, it's cloudy out, we're going to be charging slower. Being able to do those things on your phone is just really helpful and does make our lives a lot easier. So the app is a huge plus, in my opinion. I would suggest that you think of it as a must-have in your next power station too. So that's it. That's basically our thoughts on having the unit for over a year now. Some likes, some dislikes, but overall, it's keeping us on the road, and that's what we want it to do. And so we're pretty satisfied with that. So if you haven't seen the video where I go over all of the features, make sure to check that one out in the box opening. We also have a ton of other videos that are in our channel. Including, if you're wondering why our garage does not look like everyone else's and there's no bed that's right here, we have a really wild and interesting van build, and you should go check that out. We're going to be coming out with a video on using Starlink. We just got into Starlink and are getting our feet wet there, and we're gonna do a video talking about that, about traveling with pets, about how to find places to stay when you're on the road. So there's a lot of stuff coming up. So if you're interested in that, please like this video, please subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much. Bye, guys.